What's up, everyone? It's Sunshine here from ArtCee.co, and today we are joined by Shawn Rosen, a local independent filmmaker here in our beautiful town of Las Vegas. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man, we are so excited to dive into the exciting mind and world of Shawn because you have just had such a colorful independent filmmaker career. I remember the first time I saw your stuff and met you was at the Filipino Short Film Festival, I believe, right? Sometime last year, and it was Vegas's first, right?
Right, yes.
How is that for you a year later looking back?
Felt like a decade ago. So much has happened. It's almost like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an eye opener because of how much potential it has.
Yeah.
And now we just seen it like exponentially like blow up.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, that you're part of the first of many, hopefully, something that's going to be a staple here.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on when you're watching this, you know. So you're a filmmaker, right? But before we dive into all of your film making stuff, is there any other creative talents or pursuits that you have, or even if it's just a hobby, you know, like, are you solely laser focused on filmmaking, or do you have any other creative?
I'm actually an astronaut, and
That's,
I wish that'd be a great side gig.
I wouldn't say that's creative, but that's cool.
Creatively, I write a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what kind of led me into film. But so I've written a book so far, and I'm on my second book, and on the side, as I don't think it's creative. To me, it's creative, but I love scuba diving, so I go around the world and I just look at different fish and stuff.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, that must be actually so inspiring and fulfilling. Do you ever feel like that experience kind of helps inform some of your creative?
Absolutely. It's a whole nother world. Like when you're underwater and it's just you and you're not tethered to anything, it's like you're reborn again each time.
Man, Sebastian knew what he was talking about, huh?
Yeah, he did. Sorry, Ursula.
Sorry, Ursula. I love her. But I totally agree with you with the way that the underwater world just feels like you're in a different like planet. It doesn't even feel like anything that you experience here on a daily basis but has your scuba diving, I guess, like influenced your creative process in any way or inspired any of your work? Have you ever made any sort of like association with that and your creativity? Or I guess I'm curious as to why you say or consider it a creative hobby.
That's a good question. I feel like my mind is always racing. Like I have like maybe a couple hundred ideas for stories a day. I just wake up and I'm like, oh, and I have to write some of them down, and then some of them they don't stick. And I feel like when I scuba dive, or at least I'm in the water, everything kind of like calms. It mellows out, and then I can truly think about the ideas that really do mean something. Wow. And right now, it's inspired me to maybe possibly look into making a Lapu Lapu feature, because I've seen some cool things underwater in the Philippines so far.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
that'd be really
gosh.
cool.
We definitely need that for sure. Like more of that. I would love to see that. Tell me more about it. So for those who don't know who Lapu Lapu is, can you just share a little bit?
Lapu Lapu was a warrior king who stood up against Ferdinand Magellan back in the 16th century. And instead of appeasing him, he decided to battle against him with the people that he had, and he ended up ultimately beheading him. And so he's a very iconic, not only Cebuano figure, but like Filipino icon in the nation. So, and I just feel like he hasn't been given any justice cinematically. So
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And it's just not even a lot of justice in general, because I'm also Filipino. You're Filipino, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you were in the Filipino Short
Are you
Film
Cebuano?
Festival. No, I'm not.
Oh.
No, my parents are Manila and Subic Bay. Like those are the two
Oh, okay.
sides of my
Yeah,
family.
that's where my dad was stationed.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My dad was in the Navy, so yeah, he grew up like watching the ships in Subic, and he like wanted to be in the Navy, so
Oh,
and he like had a
nice.
whole career. So yeah,
Oh, sweet.
yeah,
Okay.
he was like Ariel, like part of that one. Anyway, um, but back to Lapu Lapu.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is, yeah, that's really amazing that you want to bring more cinematic justice to him, because actually I grew up learning more about Ferdinand Magellan at more than Lapu Lapu. I read like whole books as a kid on Ferdinand Magellan and stuff, and
In the Philippines?
not in the Philippines, just
In general.
yeah. I remember my mom just kind of like Scholastic Book Fair. I was like trying to figure out what book to get. My mom was like, "Oh, you should get that one. The one Who is Ferdinand Magellan?" And it was like this cool like little picture book and stuff. But that was kind of the main, I guess, narrative that I had. And Lapu Lapu was just a very short-lived bad guy in that book. Like he was the villain, obviously, in that
To rip
story.
that book
So
up, yeah.
it's so so that's why storytellers are so important, because it's like whose side of the story are you sharing, and how are you spotlighting it. So would love to know like what inspires you as a writer, and how do you kind of like when you're writing in general, how do you, I guess, kind of decide what's going to be good for a book versus like what you could see more as a film? Or are all your books something that you eventually would want to develop into a film? Could you talk a little bit about that?
That's a really good question. And what I mean by that is like sometimes I don't even think about it. I just do it and then see where it goes from there. Well, I read a lot of sci-fi, so I know if the idea involves anything outside of right here, then it's not going to be a movie anytime soon because it's going to be too expensive to make.
Oh yeah.
So that helps me a lot to figure out what's going to be a novel and what's going to be a movie. Movie wise, like it depends really. On the weekends, I'm more relaxed, so my mind gets more expansive, and then I start coming up with like the sci-fi ideas. But throughout the week, when it's like crunch time and everything, it's just like little spurts of ideas, and it's like, oh, okay, so what if gravity didn't exist suddenly for like 5 minutes? How would the world be? Stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh, that would actually be a really cool like short film. And so I was developing that for a bit, and it's
Oh,
like, whoa, how does that
man.
happen? And then
cool.
that's pretty much how my process works.
Oh,
It's like,
wow.
and then the ones that really stick are the ones that are like, dang, I just thought of that gravity one like a week ago, and it's still there. So I really have to like start writing it down. And then those are the ones that are like, okay, I have like my journal of all the ideas that I have for films and all the ideas I have for like books and everything. So it's like a never-ending log.
Wow. No, that's really impressive. It sounds like that you've gotten really just really gotten to know what your unique creative process is like. I'm sure, or not I'm sure, but I would imagine that might have taken a little bit of trial and error, because if you say you wake up having hundreds of ideas, as soon as you wake up, and the challenge can be which one can you get down, which one is worth getting down, and in what context. Yeah, it's interesting to hear that you can actually like name the different stages and like how you come up with ideas and choose them. Do you ever, in part of that process, do you find it important to just sit and think, or are your ideas are just coming to you and you kind like you said, you kind of just filter them out based off of either feasibility in development or like whether or not you still are thinking about it a week later?
Oof. The irony is that I don't really like to sit still because then my mind starts really going crazy. So I need to stay busy. So the best ideas are usually the ones that come when I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to. So like if I'm at like a work meeting at school, right? We have like these parent-teacher conferences. Sorry, kids. And like we have like the principal who's rambling on and on and on about like the latest like COVID procedures, and I'm just zoning out. Those zoning out moments are the moments that I have like the most fantastic ideas, because I know I'm supposed to be at this meeting and I don't have a choice, And so I might as well take advantage of the situation and use it for good. And then, bang, that's when I get those ideas. But
Are you just like vigorously writing notes and they're thinking like, wow, this guy is
yes,
really trying to learn about
that's
these
how I
COVID
got through
procedures?
college too. Exactly. Yes, that's how I got through college. They always thought I was.
What a really attentive student or faculty member we have here.
I can't tell you how many times I've been complimented for that, or like praised, like, wow, look, why can't you guys be like Shawn over there, who's always writing notes down? Little do they know. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. For the purposes of, if you're anyone watching this that Shawn works with, no, he didn't.
I'm actually gonna start
No,
writing
he
notes
didn't
down
say
right
that.
now.
Nah. It's just for entertainment purposes of this interview.
Yes.
That's so interesting. Honestly, I know that I personally talk to a lot of creatives, and I'm always so interested to hear about everyone's different creative processes and how one idea gets started and followed through. How do you, with all of the ideas that you have, and it sounds like you're pretty organized with your journals too, how do you get yourself to take something to the finish line? Because I feel like that's something that a lot of creatives and artists can struggle with,
Oh, another excellent question. I just always feel like, I tell this to my kids, my students, organization is the key to success.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Wait,
you,
sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt real quick. Your students,
so my school students.
okay, so you're
I'm a teacher. Yeah.
You're a teacher as well.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's
got
my
it.
main. That's my main gig right now.
Gotcha. You tell your students organization is
The key to success,
Okay.
because we can derail off of so many things. We get distracted from social media, or we can get distracted from food. We can get distracted from, I don't know, our love interests, whatever. But if you keep it organized, or if you keep some aspect of your life organized, that's the part of your life I feel like will hit the finish line. And so a lot of it has to do with like self-discipline. Like you have to force yourself to be organized. And I think I'm just going off what I did. I had to force myself to
Right.
I have to have a journal, or I'm just not everything is just gonna bounce around in the ether again. So
Right.
I have to capture it. I have to force myself to organize it into a little journal so I can always go back to it later.
Okay, yeah, that's so fair. Now, obviously you're really organized and you have your journals and notes, but how do you stick to the discipline of taking the idea to the next phase and then to the next phase without getting distracted? Do you work on multiple ideas at the same time, or are you like, okay, this is going to be a film, so I need to finish this part or be here by this time? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's excellent.
Like, how do you move along the process and make sure that you're moving along the process and not like starting a new thing and getting halfway through and then starting a new thing and then unless that is what,
I think you just spelled out the recipe for disaster, but that's just for me, because when you're like dealing with like a bunch of ideas and you're trying to do it all, you end up doing nothing. You end up doing none of them. So I've learned, for my own process at least, that out of like all the ideas that I have, the ones that constantly stick out to me, the ones that are like just running through my mind randomly in the shower or during the middle of interviews or something, those are the ideas that are like, okay, this has got legs now, and it's walking in my head. I need to do something with it. And then it either ends up in a book or it ends up on screen. And so, once I have my mind set on that idea, it's running through my head 24/7 until it's made.
Gotcha. So you just get extremely focused once you zero in on an idea that really feels like it's calling to you. Then what do you have any advice for any artists or creatives out there who might struggle with self-discipline and maybe organization, but mostly it's self-discipline? Because what we hear a lot of, and part of the reason why we started ArtCee, is because we really wanted to help artists and creatives take their ideas to the finish line, because a lot of times, like our founder Rachel always says all the time, is too many times your ideas get stuck in like first draft, and for whatever reason, whether it's imposter syndrome or you don't have the right like collaborators or resources to kind of like see it to fruition. There's just so many reasons. Life gets in the way. You mentioned like your social life can be distracting, but yeah, do you have any advice for anyone that struggles with artistic discipline?
Make your bed in the morning. That always helps me. Yeah, it's you got to take the little wins where you can get them, like making your bed. It's like there's so many scientific studies that show that, if you accomplish that little task, that actually dominoes into bigger tasks throughout the day. And so, plus that's what they taught us in the military. I was in the military.
That's right. I've seen that speech.
Yeah?
Yeah, the military speech. My dad showed me that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, make your bed, because even if you have like the worst day ever, like you'll come home to a made bed.
Yes, exactly.
One?
Yes,
that's like a military
they
thing.
show us that like it's freaking the Bible. So
yeah,
that's a good start right there.
Oh wow, I was not expecting that answer at all. That was not on my bingo card of answers I thought you would say. That's interesting. So basically, you're saying that when you start with your day with a win, then you are more likely to have like the confidence to take on the next task in your creative process or idea, instead of feeling like you're getting swept in the undercurrents of the day and getting overwhelmed.
No, you just have a clean bed to lay on.
Oh.
That's really all you need. But yeah, if you just start the day with the win, then no matter what happens, you end the day with the win.
Wow. Great advice. Yeah, definitely something to sit on. So, we've been talking so much about how your creative process and you making films and also being a writer. Can you talk to us about some of your favorite projects, or just share with us a little bit more about your film career and your film journey?
Oh, well, the first thing that comes to mind is how I got into it. When the pandemic hit, everyone was learning how to make bread. So
They really were.
or they were learning something, and I always thought, I've never tapped into this medium. I've always wrote, and when I finally finished my first book, it was right after like the pandemic started, so it was around like April, so like a month after it hit, and nobody wanted to read it. I mean, sure, I don't have a name, but people know that, like, hey, look, there's a reason why I had like straight A's in every English class, because I could write, but nobody wants to read. And not just my stuff, but in general, like it's really hard to just pick up a book and read. And I think that's because of our like instant gratification society that we have. So I'm like, how do I get these how do I reach these keys? So that's what do I do? So I had to figure out a medium that could reach out to the most amount of people. And there was nothing more moving than the video medium.
And motion picture.
And motion pictures.
Right. Oh wow. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that you're I guess, would it be called like a pandemic filmmaker, or you're one of the talents that came out of the pandemic as a result? So how did that start for you? If you're in the pandemic and you're in lockdown, or did you transition from writing scripts, or from books to scripts then, and screenplays, or how did that look?
It was a really easy transition, because when you're writing a book, you're writing like, hundreds of pages, and you're writing in prose format, so everything's in paragraphs and everything, and so you always double space it. But when you have a script, like, you don't write in paragraph form. You're writing based off of the action, and then you're basing everything off of the dialogue and the characters, and it's like, holy cow, my 200-page book could easily be like a 500-page script, And so it was easy to write, like, oh, yeah, 10-minute short film, 10 pages. I was dishing out scripts left and right.
Wow, that's actually really incredible. And definitely, I feel like it's an advantage on your part to be a writer first, and then having found that love for filmmaking. But
you don't have to. You don't have to be a writer first to write screenplays. You can go straight into screenplays. It's just, I feel like I was lucky.
Good tip.
I was lucky to be able to, like, I had that prose writing first that I could convert into screenplay writing.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great insight. Thank you for sharing that. So since the pandemic, or since your film journey began, how many films or works have you produced?
Well, it's unfortunate to say that I've only made student films because
That's not unfortunate. How is that unfortunate?
well, because my whole career has been a student career so far. Like I'm now just starting my professional career
Oh.
next month.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. I mean, at the time of this recording, it's 2023, right? Because sometimes I don't know anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
But it's 2023, and the pandemic was 2020. Actually, the pandemic was basically like 2 years long, it felt like, or I don't even know, time just kind of blurred. So
Yeah.
that's actually, I don't think, and I think a lot of people would agree that that's not unfortunate at all. That sounds about like the time that it would take to kind of go from student. Actually, it sounds really fast to go from student to have a professional opportunity. That's actually pretty amazing that you did that in that short amount of time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I do remember like at the Filipino festival, it felt like it was like the Rosen brothers show, because you guys just had, it was so impressive how many films that you guys had submitted, and I was like, dang, how did they do more than one of these? Because it just, there's so much that goes into them.
Yeah, they all did their own.
Yeah.
They took their years to develop their craft, and then when they made they were ready. They made theirs, and we were just lucky to be able to show them together.
Aw, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So so you're not the only person in your family that is a filmmaker. Do you guys ever collaborate on anything, or are you guys pretty like in your own lanes?
God, everybody, that'd be the day if we collaborated. Everybody wants us to collaborate. No, we're all very incredibly competitive.
Oh,
Yeah,
got it.
we each think that we can make better films than the other.
Okay.
So, but we're all very good at particular things. So we would definitely collaborate really well. Like Jason, he's the one that made the Love film called What If. He's an actor. He's an actor by trade. He goes and does all that stuff. But he can direct if he wants to. He can mainly like love stories, but just kidding, guys. And then Derek is a comedy director. He's really good at directing comedy. So his stuff is always funny, and like happy-go-lucky. And then I'm just really good at talking. So I feel like I can produce their films. If Derek hired Jason as an actor, and then we all collaborated that way. But then we're trying to figure out like who would be the one that takes the reins of the film creatively, and we can't agree on it.
So is it a matter of you can't agree on it, or you can't find people that
Oh
would
no,
fit?
we have a huge arsenal of people that want that. They'll be like that. What they're saying is like, if we collaborated, they would be a part of the project for free. They wouldn't even worry that.
Amazing. Oh, well, we're
No
definitely
rates.
going to be looking out for that day. That kind of brings me into, and I remind me, I really want to go back into a more specific dive of some of the work that you have out there. But when it comes to just the arts and entertainment industry in general, part of the reason, other part of the reason why ArtCee got started is, we kind of want to be the LinkedIn for the arts and entertainment industry, because it can be such a who industry. If somebody wanted, like if somebody was making a film and needed like a boom operator, for example, typically you would just call up your other film friends, right, and be like, hey, who do you know? Because you can't exactly just Google
Right.
like boom operators in Las Vegas, or maybe you could, but it's just not as streamlined of a process as versus if you were needing to hire talent for another industry. Like you could go on LinkedIn, you could see their full professional profile and
Yeah.
get to know them more than just a resume. So it's really something that we are doing and wanting to do at ArtCee. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that there is actually, or could actually be, more of a need for, I guess, a network, a creative and artistic network and collaboration and a platform to host all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is brilliant what you guys are doing. First of all, yeah, ArtCee's great. And second, we've since we started at least Derek and I, because we started at the same time, we've been using kind of like the LinkedIn for actors called Backstage.
Right.
And so it's really easy to find talent, and like everybody wants to, get some kind of screen time. So they're always willing to work on a student film. But you're right, like there isn't any kind of like backstage for like boom operators or like gaffers or, script supervisors.
Yeah.
And so to have some kind of like resource where I can just log in and, quickly look up somebody and see what their rates are or see like, what they're about and more than just, just like a name and contact info, that would be really convenient.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. That's really what we want to do, is celebrate the full person for who they are, and not just like you as just a filmmaker, but maybe you're a filmmaker and a business owner, or maybe you're a filmmaker and a screenplay, a writer too. We really just want to be able to support the industry and the ecosystem, like, and streamline every part of it. So even outside of production, for example, if you are a freelancer, right, and then you were freelancing full time, how do you do your taxes as a filmmaker for the first time? What resources can you go to, or where can you turn to do something like that? Like
1099.
Yeah, right. 1099s, but that's sort of our mission, or our goal, is to just like support the industry, the whole ecosystem, and not just focusing on one part of the industry, where a lot of other platforms out there are more about like the transaction between like a casting director and an actor or talent or whatever. But we really want to even invite businesses that support the arts to be able to look at what projects or filmmakers or things that are, or projects are out there that they might want to invest in and kind of like get a producer credit for. If they want to find LGBTQ-led projects, you can do that on ArtCee. You can filter through that. If you want to find like a minority directed project and you want to invest in that as a business owner, or if you're an actor and you can also edit highlight reels, you can list that as a service on your portfolio. So ArtCee offers a lot, but it all comes together in the sense of how can we streamline the industry and make it more accessible and just less all over the place for everyone.
Right.
So do you feel like you could see something like that being helpful for your endeavors moving forward?
Absolutely. My gosh, that would save me so much time.
That's the goal. That's what we want.
Time saver.
Save time, headache, frustration, all of that.
Yes, that's why I'm excited.
Yes, that's why we were excited to have you here as well. So thank you for being here. Now, I didn't forget, going back to your works, if you check out his portfolio, you can see all of the work that he has done so far, and also things that are in the works. Talk to us a little bit about the Tagalog, right? There you have like a Tagalog film,
Yeah.
the one that has a Tagalog title. Can you talk a little bit about that one and the inspiration behind it and the meaning behind the title?
Okay. So far I only have one film that's with the Tagalog title. It's called Palaisipan. And what it means in Tagalog is puzzle. At least I hope that's what the definition is, right? That's puzzle, diba? Okay. And so it was inspired by a college professor of mine when I was at CSN. I went to CSN for film, and he's like, "Hey, Shawn, like you seem like really gung ho about doing stuff. So why don't you go and try to get your work out in some film festivals? I want to see what you can do." And I'll tell you what, I'll even count it as a grade toward one of the assignments in this class.
Nice.
And I was like, "Say less, professor." So he told me about the Ely Film Festival in Ely, Nevada, and I'm like, "Okay, so when's the deadline?" 3 weeks. So,
Cool.
and I was like, when did people start finding out, when they were allowed to start submitting? And it was like a year before. So everyone else had like 11 months in advance, and I just found out I had 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Mm-hmm. And then,
Everyone else had an 11-month head start.
yes, and I only had 3 weeks. And And the reason why that matters is because there's prompts you have to use. So there's like, one of the prompts is you have to have a key in the film, and another prompt is you have to have a picture of the main actress or actor with the city that you're filming in. So we had to have a picture of Las Vegas somewhere in there, and it had to have a foreign line of another language. And we're like, oh, okay.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I was like, well, all right. Well, Vegas, we'll just throw in a random picture of the actress, and then we'll just make it about a treasure chest or something. And then the line in another language, I was like, I'll just turn the whole thing into a Filipino film. And so Pali-Sipan, it took us a week to write. Well, it took me like 2 hours to write. But then I had to flesh it out. We had to start turning it into something more than just like a really creepy scare. And then it took us a week to shoot, and we were lucky because we were allowed to use the studio at CSN. So we already had the location. We just turned like the room into like a dark, like hellish looking place. And then we edited for a week. That was the part that we needed the week for, because editing is enormously like painstaking long. And we submitted it at 11:59 on the day of the submission. Yeah. And
Are you embellishing the story to make it sound cooler?
No, it was dead serious. Yeah, we barely submitted it on time.
Oh my gosh, that must have been so nerve-wracking.
It was.
So
We
much
thought all of
pressure.
it was for nothing because we didn't think it went through. Plus, we were doing it through Google Drive because they didn't have any other submission form.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
the
So
time
you
is
had to
going,
wait
and we were waiting for it to load, and everything is stringing, and it's like 95% done, 96%
And Google Drive
done.
takes so
It does.
unnecessarily long
Right.
compared to other.
Exactly. And I was like, why can't we just send it to you through WeTransfer?
Why can't we just
something?
airdrop it? I'm just kidding.
Right, yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, we're in Ely, Yeah, you can totally airdrop that far away. That's what they
Oh
said.
my god, that's crazy. So it was the upload that finished at 11:59.
Yeah, the upload finished 100% at 11:59, March 11th, 2000. No, it was February because it was a month before the film festival happened. So like February 11th, 2022
Oh my
or
gosh.
something.
The date is forever etched in his soul.
Yes, and it took my soul to make it in time. So, but we're glad that it worked out because it ended up winning the film festival.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh, yay!
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That was my very first one that I won.
That's a flex. Like everybody else had 11 months and just pull it together in 3 weeks. You know what?
That's the one thing I'm proud of. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
they had so much
You
time.
should be so proud of that. Absolutely. Your whole team, everybody that
Oh, yeah.
worked on it. What a Herculean feat to accomplish. And I do remember this film because I remember it was scary, and I'm a big weenie, and I
Yeah?
was like, I had one of my friends, her niece, she was like 9 or 10 sitting next to me, and I kept checking on her. I was like, are you okay? Because it's really scary. But really I was projecting because I was scared. And they were like, oh no, she's fine. She loves horror movies and stuff. So she's just sitting there like, I'm just like, okay, just me? This is so scary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was great. Great job to you and the
Thank
team
you.
again.
The irony is my niece is in that film. The little girl is my niece.
that was your
That's
niece?
my niece,
Aw.
yeah. And the main actress is my sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
If you guys get a chance, definitely go visit his portfolio on artsee.co and check out the film. Can you watch it online?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay, perfect. So you guys can check that out and see what we're talking about. But wow, that's incredible. What advice would you give to anyone that is an aspiring filmmaker, or maybe someone watching this right now that's like, oh wow, that's what he was able to do in 3 years? Where do I even start? Where do I even begin? What would you say?
Make your bed. No. I don't want to like make it sound easy because it's not. It's an incredibly tough field. I think any art is a tough field. It's glamorous, sure, and it's really like awe-dropping when you're like thinking about it and you're like, wow, like this is my passion. Well, if it really is your passion, then you'll be able to stick it through no matter if you're feeling at your high or your low with it. And with this, there's so many times I just wanted to say, you know what? I don't need this stress. Why do I need to deal with 90 other people to make this one thing that people are going to watch one time and forget, you know? And it's like those negative thoughts that make you like walk away from your art, or at least for film, for me.
Yeah, that's valid though.
And I just realized, well, I've already devoted my heart into it, and it's become like a part of who I am. And so I feel like a piece of me is missing when I'm not doing it. And it's like, okay, that means I'm in it. Like, I'm all in it. That's just all I think about and all I do. So I feel like if you're going to be a filmmaker, you have to be focused on just being a filmmaker. I mean, sure, you can have your 9 to 5 or your main gig that helps you pay the bills, but if you're not thinking and breathing and eating and sleeping film, then you better just choose another hobby, because this is something that millions of people want to do. And if you're going to make something that people are going to actually enjoy, you got to put your soul into it, and people will know. They can feel it. So
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that is a mic drop moment for sure. And you're right, you can tell. You can tell when do not. Just kidding. I know you wouldn't. Anyway, but yeah, you can absolutely tell when a film was just put together, especially in Hollywood, just as like a quick cash grab with some A-listers, and the least amount of budget went to the writing.
yeah, I know.
You can absolutely tell.
That sucks.
Yeah, so you're so right on that.
Mrs. Marvel, sorry.
Right? I know, right? 'Cause
Sorry,
they
Marvel.
could just blow millions in production, and it'll just be like, wow.
Yeah, it's like a Transformers movie.
Oh, wow.
Lights,
Yeah, lights.
colors.
You touched on a little bit earlier, kind of about, those moments where you kind of question whether or not you want to go on, or why are you going through this stress? Why are you doing it? In a similar vein, has there ever been a moment where you were just stuck in your creative process, and was there anything you did to overcome that?
So I have my own production company called Plethora Productions, and Plethora is the name of my dog, and she's a cute Maltipoo. So to me, she's cute, but you'll see her if you see her at the film.
Picture.
Yeah, and she's 15, and every time I make a film, she loves to be right in the middle of the set. So we'll be filming a scene, where they're having like a really like passionate conversation, and she'll jump in the middle of the set and jump in the middle of the couch and just cut in between the two actors.
Oh my gosh.
And she's a film dog. She loves being on set.
I'm a star.
She
Well,
loves
like,
it. Yeah, and
she knows you named the production company after her.
She
She's
knows.
like, what else do you expect?
She's the poster child. So I like to cater to her whenever I get stuck creatively. And what I mean by that is, like, I'll go walk her, I'll take her to the dog park, I'll just play with her for a few minutes, and suddenly, like, my creative juices start sparking again. It's like she gives me her poster childness, and it's like, here you go. I know you need this, so go back into the fray and make me look good. So, yeah, I love that dog.
That is so wholesome. That is so wholesome. She's like, you made me the poster child. I'm going to do my job. Poster child energy.
Yeah.
Right back to you.
And it works.
It was meant to be. That the fact that works out, that's amazing. And I guess the takeaway for others who might ever feel creatively stuck is maybe you don't have to have a poster child dog, but do you think that maybe if you feel stuck, it helps to just take a break from that rut, even if it's just like a 5-minute walk, or step away from it for a moment and just get a reset, right?
I feel like we have different parts of our brains. I mean, obviously, but we're using different parts of our brain throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And so when we get into that creative mode, I feel like we're using a specific part of our brain. Mm-hmm. And to actually step back is to step out of that part of your brain and use a different part of your brain. And then you can actually, like, from a weird astro-projective way, look at that part of your brain and be like, hey, okay, so that doesn't look like it's working. And then you can kind of just solve it by working outside of that part of your brain. And That just got weird. But that's how I.
No, that makes sense. I'm following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
that's
So that's how I feel like. Even you just do something else, or if you're a writer, I'm sure there's a lot of writers. You just work backwards. That helps a lot. So if you get stuck and you're on like chapter 10 or something and you don't know where to write from there, write the last chapter and go backwards and see how that fits into chapter 10, and then it'll probably help you propel forward after that.
just fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Those are both great tips, great insight. I feel like that's going to help a lot of people, and I mean, me included. It's always good to step back, take a break, give that part of your brain a rest, and I guess when you are stuck, try to work backwards or from a different part and fill in the gaps, right?
Yeah, that helps a lot.
That's great
That'd be nice.
advice. Shawn, you have been hanging out with us for a great minute now, and we've been having so much fun. Ugh, make your bed.
It's ready for me tonight.
He's like, I'm ready to go to my
it's already
made bed.
clean and ready to go.
So we just want to thank you for just sharing your time, insights, and talents with us, but we cannot let you go without asking you something that we ask all of our guests here, and that is, if you were to walk into a room and it was a musical or a movie, what would be your opening song or track?
Oh, dang. Well, right off the bat, Candyman by Zed. Living for the moment. I love that. Yeah.
Aw, it's actually a good
That's
one.
my life right there.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and let you go home to your made bed, but
Yes.
thanks for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for
Check
having
him
me.
out on artcee.co. Make sure to check out his portfolio, check out his work, and then connect with him. And maybe if you get the opportunity and get lucky, maybe you guys can collaborate as well.
That'd be great. Would love to have that.
Real quick, what kind of collaborators would you be looking for in the future, ideally?
Cinematographers, editors, actors, script supervisors. I'm open to anybody. I just pick anybody who wants to come and collaborate.
Oh.
There's a position for everyone in the film world.
Oh, easy. Great. Well, they will see you there then. Thank you again, Shawn.
Thank you for having me.